Hello and welcome to Between the Books. I'm Isadora.
And my name is Shannon.
And today we're going to be discussing Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. But before we get to that, Shannon, what are you currently reading?
Nothing.
No.
Since we read this book, I haven't really been reading anything because Christmas has been overwhelming me. But I do usually do a lot of reading during that week between Christmas and New Year's. And I'm planning to read our book club book, which is going to be our book club book, which is God Killer by Hannah Kaner. And I'm really excited to read it.
Yeah, that was your nomination, right?
That was my nomination, yes.
Voted.
I'm also might read, because I need to fulfill my mid-year freakout tag goals, which means I need to read Heavenly Tyrant by Jiren J. Zhao. So I hope I do that as well. Those are my lofty goals.
Yeah.
What about you?
I am currently reading The Bear and the Nightingale.
Wow.
And
you know how that was supposed to be our podcast episode?
This was supposed to be our podcast for this week. If you listen to our previous episode, we mentioned that at the end of the episode, but we didn't get to it, and we've just been so busy with like end of the year stuff, and we haven't done that yet. I'm reading it, but I've been so busy that I haven't been focusing on it too much. So hoping to take more time in January to finish, and then we'll get a podcast going for that. But the reason we're talking about this one today is actually because we read it with our book club, like our friend book club. Was that also your nomination?
It was. I'm really good at picking books.
Wow.
And we both read it, and we wanted to talk about it, so here we are.
Yeah, we both really liked it. Everyone in the club gave like a very high, like above 4 stars.
We've had our book club going since the pandemic.
Yeah.
So about 5 years, which is really fun and really cute. And we read a lot of books. And this is our highest book club overall rating. For every member gave it above 4 stars.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
It was
usually
crazy.
We don't do that.
At least one person doesn't like
it.
a book.
Yeah.
Like there's never been a time.
Yeah.
We've gotten close, but never like this.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about it because we definitely recommend this book, obviously. But Shannon, do you want to tell us what this book is about?
The Cunninghams are a family of killers, and during their family reunion at a ski resort, someone is killed during their first night. With a storm stranding them at the resort, Ernest Cunningham must figure out which member of his dysfunctional family committed the crime.
Ooh.
So, Isadora, what were your general thoughts with this book? We alluded to it before, but what did you think?
I really liked it. I'm not a big mystery reader. I have read 4 Agatha Christie books, and unfortunately, I have not really liked any of them.
Really?
Yeah. Have you read any?
Yeah.
Which one?
Orient.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've only read Orient.
I think that was my favorite of all 4 that I've read, but I still don't love it. Maybe I just gotta... This is maybe why I've only read them in Portuguese. So I wonder if it's like the translation. Like I wonder if I read it in English, I would like it more. So maybe I gotta get to that. I gotta try. I'm so open to trying.
Okay, yeah.
I think I really want to read And Then There Were None. I've heard that one.
Yeah, I also want to read that one as well.
Maybe we should. But yeah, and I've read some other ones, but I never on my own pick it up anymore because I just haven't had the best of luck with them. But this one was really fun. Like I had a really good time, and we'll talk more about it later, but just every aspect of it I think worked really well. And this is definitely an author that we'll read more in the future. He continued the series, every book. I think you can read them separately if you want, but then you might get spoilers. But the next one is a mystery as well with the same main character. And I think I'm going to continue reading it because I had a really good time and I really enjoyed it. Yay. How about you?
Yeah, I also really enjoyed it. I also don't really read mysteries. I want to read more mysteries. So I think this was just a perfect encapsulation of everything I like about the genre. And also just it did it so well.
And it was also even though there were serious things about it, it wasn't a serious book, which I think a lot of mysteries can be too.
They take themselves too seriously.
Well, yeah, it's just the mood is just dark, and I feel like this one had dark things, but because there's so much comedy as well in it, I think.
Yeah,
it just felt lighter.
It feels it's comped similarly to Knives Out.
Yes, exactly.
And I think it's the same. That is a very good way to describe the vibes of this book. Whereas there are moments in Knives Out that are serious, but it is also very comedic at times as well.
Exactly, yeah.
I also want to mention, because we didn't realize this when we picked it for our book club, but it does take place at a ski resort, which means it's perfect for winter, and I didn't even know.
Yeah, there's so much snow. It hasn't snowed yet this year, but I feel like reading that when it, like, if it had been like a snowstorm or something, the vibes would have been so good.
Yeah. So we mentioned that we read this book as part of our book club, and I think we need to pitch more mysteries for book club. I think we primarily do fantasy given the audience that is part of our book club.
Yeah.
But mysteries are really good for book clubs. And I think if our book club was cooler, where we met more regularly, we meet after we all read the book and we discuss our thoughts.
And sometimes it's months.
And sometimes it's months.
It's not like a very regular book club.
But if we'd read like 2-3 chapters, met up and talked about it, and then read 2 to 3 chapters.
That'd be so cool.
I think this is a perfect book for that, because it really lends itself to being discussed and especially theorized. So I live with my partner, who is also part of the book club, and we actually normally don't talk about the book with each other because we want to like save our thoughts for the actual book club meeting. But this book we talked about with each other so much before the actual meeting, because we wanted to know what the other thought was going to happen.
And you're reading it at the same time.
We're reading it at the same time,
And I think that would be really cool too, for this book in particular, and like maybe others, but this one I felt like it would have been like, it's a type of mystery book that you could figure out what was going on. Like, you could have figured out the killer if you had paid attention and like tracked things, I don't know, taken notes, because I usually don't for those things. I usually am just going with the flow, like I'm finding out things with the main character, like I'm not trying too hard. But when I got to the end and they were revealing like all these little details, I was like, wait, like honestly, that makes so much sense. I could have like put things together if I had tried, which I think, and then I told you because I read the book first, and I think you kind of took that and paid more attention than I did.
And I thought that was really fun because it made me scrutinize a lot of the details and the characters more. And then I got to the end of the book when they were doing a bunch of reveals and stuff, that me and my partner read the last bit of the book out loud to each other, because we were like, okay, what's gonna happen next? And she's a faster reader than me, so I'd be like, slow down. But then we just read the last bit like out loud. And that was just a really fun way to consume this book, for the big reveals, to read it together. And so I would recommend that if you're able to do that with someone. That was a really fun way to read this book.
I love that. That's really nice.
So this book, it takes place at the ski resort and is a locked room mystery, which is really the subgenre of mystery that I really enjoy.
Me too, yeah.
It's the same reason I liked Orient Express, and like it's like a classic for a reason. Because it traps you with like these cast of characters, and it feels very cozy to me, which feels weird to say about a murder mystery.
It's because the places are familiar. You start like, you know where we're going, like you can picture it very well.
I don't know what it is about like these mysteries that make it feel like cozy for me, but I feel like it was like the perfect kind of book to read during this time of year.
And another thing that I think made the book so fun, and like what really sold it to me, like apart from the plot, apart from the concept and everything, was just the voice and the just writing style and the choices that the author made. Because in this one, it's narrated by Ernest, and who's the main character, and he breaks the fourth wall a lot, and he's like directly talking to you, and like and also the whole thing is that he's an author and he writes mystery books, so technically this is a book that he's writing about his life and what happened to him. So he's like, so this is what usually happens in mystery books, and then there's this and this, but he's like talking to you and he's bringing up things and like giving you little hints and like being so obvious at some points, but like it was so well placed that it wasn't giving away thing at the same time.
My favorite thing about this book is that right at the start, it's not a spoiler, it happens like literally in the first chapter, he tells you which chapters deaths are going to occur in, and that's crazy because it doesn't really spoil anything, because you don't know what's gonna happen, like you don't know
exactly, and you're not gonna be like memorizing it either, you know?
So like specifically you're reading like a chapter and you're like, I know someone dies in this chapter, when's it gonna happen, how's it gonna happen, and it really builds suspense. And I thought that was a really smart way to just spoil what happens, but it makes it more intriguing when you're reading the book.
And then there were moments too where it would be like someone would be in danger or whatever, like something would be happening, and then he would just be like, sideline. He'll be like, don't worry, this isn't the person that's gonna die in this chapter. Like, he would just tell you things like that, and it was just so funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, or he was to be like just so ominous. He's like, and this is the last time this character is ever gonna do this. And like, not, it doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna die. Sometimes it just means like there's like another reason why he's saying that. But it just puts you like on your tail. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and it never took you out of the moment.
Yeah, no.
It always added to the suspense.
Yeah,
like, I feel like you'd be like nod, wink to the camera, and most of the times, if it's not done right, it takes a reader out of the story. Yeah. But anytime it was done, it was always added to the voice of the story. I think it just was done really well.
Yeah, I know. Oh, generally my favorite part, the whole time I was laughing or like just giggling, like, oh.
Both of us read this book in ebook form and audiobook form. And I think something that's really cute is that this book will reference the audiobook if you're listening to the audiobook, or reference the ebook if you're listening or reading the ebook.
Or like the physical one, because one of our friends did physical, so we were checking with them to see about these parts.
Like, there's parts where they will be like, oh, don't worry, you have this much left in your progress bar if like in this book, if you're reading the ebook. Or if you're listening to the audiobook, he'll reference the fact that you have this many hours left in the audiobook, don't worry.
And there's like a one point where he was like, I know you bought the ebook. And I'm like, how do you know? Like, what do you mean? And then and then we checked with our friends and we're like, did they say that on yours? And they're like, no, ours was more like physical,
like it referenced pages,
the physical pages and stuff. And I love that. I've never seen that before.
No, I think
so funny.
It was such a great way to. It's such a small change.
Yeah, and it like immerses you more in it.
Yeah,
like, it was very immersive. Yeah. Yeah. That would be. I wonder if it would be like a good movie. Like, I think they could make a good movie out of this.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think and I don't know how they would necessarily do these. And I think the fourth wall. Yeah, like it would just be funny if they added the fourth.
You get Ryan Johnson on this.
I know. Let's.
This is also like a side note, but this book takes place in Australia. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't think I've ever read a book that took place in Australia.
No, me neither. Like, I don't think no. I was gonna say I don't know if I've ever read from an Australian author, but I do think I have. But
like a book like set in Australia.
And it's funny too, because it's not what you would expect from a book set in Australia. Like, because usually everyone's talking about like the sun and the beaches and stuff in Australia, but this isn't a ski resort. It's snowing, and I never even thought about that.
Yeah, so I just think that was fun too. It's something I've never read before, and I want to read more.
Yeah,
books placed in different places that I don't normally read from.
Yeah.
So the name of the game, everybody in my family has killed someone. So the way that this book is laid out is that there are sections in the book, and they each cover a particular family member, and they talk about how this family member killed someone. And I also just think that was a very smart way to lay out the book, because each section felt like gripping, because we were also advancing the mystery that was happening, but also they would tell you like a sort of backstory for this family member and like what they've done in the past,
which all like ties in at the end, so you gotta pay attention.
And sometimes he'll be like, don't worry, this isn't the person that my family member killed, and they'll expect you that this is the person that died, but actually it wasn't this person, it was something else. And so it's, even though you know that someone dies in this chapter, it's like still subversive. So again, it's just the writing, the way that this book was written, I think was really good.
Yeah. And it like, whenever it would, like, I don't know, this chapter's about his aunt, like she would almost like be like that information that we're now learning from their backstory and like who did his aunt kill, like that kind of plays along in that chapter. So it was very well placed as well.
Yeah. I also just enjoy books that are about large families.
Yes. Yeah.
I need to read more about this. I don't know if you have any recommendations for books where they just are about families that are just like dysfunctional, like they just don't get along. I would love to read it. I was explaining this to you because I think you get away with people being more of an asshole in a family dynamic, rather than these were just a bunch of strangers that met at the ski resort, and you're like, well, that guy's just an asshole, you know? But you're like, no, it's my father-in-law. He's just an asshole, but he's also my father-in-law, you know? Like they have such deep connections to each other that are complicated because they don't like this person because of something they did in the past, but they're still family, you know? So it made
so much more.
Yeah, it made every character in the story feel like real people.
Yeah.
And who would each have motives to do this.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it.
And it's almost trickier and it's different because the main character knows so much about these backstories. So the way that he uses these informations that we find out later, like the way he's piecing things together is different than like someone that's just learning it in the moment. Like you learn based on like what information the person's giving you, but this guy, like, he knows so much already about what's been happening. So,
yeah. I also like that it gave the characters a lot of motivation to be like lying because they just don't like Ernest and they just don't want to tell Ernest about like their problems.
Because Ernest, like we learned at the beginning, he's like he will turn against you.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're family, like you can't, like he's like he will do what he thinks is right.
He's a little black sheep of the family. Yeah. So he's like shunned for most of his family members that don't like him. And I just think that's so fun.
And something that adds to it too is that like these are family members, and like one of them is the killer, and it's like you don't want, like, these are your family, like you don't want to believe that one of them is the killer. So even though there were so many moments where they were like hesitant around each other, but they like trusted each other at the same time, you know, because it's like, you know, this person, like you're not like scared of them. Yeah. So he wasn't scared of anyone. He was suspicious, but he wasn't like, oh no, a killer, I'm afraid. Like, no, those are my family members. You know, like it's different. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's why I'm really interested. So we are both really interested in reading the other books in this series. Yeah. Everyone on this train is a suspect.
There's a Christmas one.
And there's a Christmas one as well. Maybe for the podcast next year. Yeah. But we don't think it's about the family. We don't know, but we're pretty sure it's not. So I wonder how the rest of the books, what the rest of books are like, because this
it would be different,
specific book was a lot about the family. So I wonder what the other ones are like, but I want to read them.
Yeah, I know, me too. I want to see Ernest be in the situation again.
Put him in the situation.
Oh my gosh. So, you know, murders, they're not something we can do for this podcast.
An excellent segue.
And as you know, we do little activities inspired by the books, but unfortunately it is not snowing and we couldn't just go to a resort and we couldn't just kill someone. Skiing. We could have gone skiing, but it's also, we're so busy right now. Yes. So yeah, if we had planned more events and stuff, maybe. So, but it is something that you could do once you read this book.
If you want to
go to a resort, go skiing,
kill someone.
Kill someone. But so we couldn't do any of that stuff. So what's the closest thing you can do at home? Clue.
Yay!
Yay. So we actually were just playing a couple of rounds before we started recording, and it was so fun. Like, it's a game that you play a lot when you're a child, but I feel like once you get older, it doesn't. There's so many other new games that come out, so you start playing new games, but you don't revisit old ones as much sometimes. So it's really fun.
I love Clue. Like, if you haven't played Clue in a while, me and my friends would play Clue all the time when we were younger. Yeah. And we got so much into the role playing. Did I tell you this?
No.
We would have characters, which is what you do in Clue, right? You're different characters, but we wouldn't play the game. We would just role play as the characters.
Oh my God.
Which is why I like Dungeons and Dragons now.
That's so funny.
It was the seed of the past that influenced my future.
Nice.
But I did love the board game, the actual game.
Yeah, I used to play it a lot with my family too. It's such a... And it's so fun. You can play multiple rounds. It's just so fun. It's like the little strategy and like... Not strategy, but deduction. You just have to like be good at paying attention and noticing all the little things.
The other thing that you can do is that we own... like escape room board games that are designed to be played once, basically, but they have a little mystery inside of them that you can solve. And in this case, we got these from a friend of ours because they've already played it, solved the mystery, so they passed it along to another person. I think that's really fun too. So that's something else that you could do.
There's like, this is unrelated, but you know that book King's Jawbone?
Yeah.
That, like, I'm so curious about it. I think it would give me too much stress, and I don't think I
my
could
partner
do it.
is solving it.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
With
That's crazy.
With our friend.
That's crazy. So this one, if you don't know, it's a book that was like published like decades ago, and it's basically a mystery book, and all the pages are mixed together. Like it doesn't come in order, and you have to basically solve it and sort all the pages correctly, and I think you have to figure out like the murders or whatever. And only like very few people have done it. Like it's a very small amount of people that have actually completed it. Like, I wonder if there's the answer somewhere online.
Probably now, because when did it come out?
Like, literally, I want to say the 70s, but I might be wrong.
The internet probably spoiled it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's true. But, like, it would be so fun to do it, but I don't think I could do it. Like, I think it would have to be a group effort, and everyone would just have to be committed until the end. Because I think it would be also very easy to give up. 1934. This was published in 1934, actually.
That's crazy.
I know. That's just crazy.
That's almost 100 years.
Oh my God. I don't like that.
Like, it's like 90 years.
That's crazy.
It's almost 100.
Almost 100 years ago, this book was published. Nuts. Anyways, that would also be something else. But also, that's like just another level of solving mystery.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot. That's it. I think that this also just shows us that we really want to read more mystery books and stuff. So this is something that this book inspires.
We could be a mystery book podcast instead of a romance book podcast.
We ended up being a romance one, and now this is also the first book that we've read in this podcast written by a man. So I think, right?
We love to uplift minority voice.
So but yeah, I think this is pretty much it for non-spoilers. We are going to move on and talk about the murderer.
We're going to tell you who did it.
Who died, who could have done it, maybe.
So if you don't want to know, and you should read this book, you should leave now.
Yeah. Bye. Okay. Shannon, I know, like we talked about, I obviously didn't really try to solve it, but you and your partner were very focused on trying to figure out what happened. Yes. And how did that go?
Immediately, I went, this cop that has shown up is suspicious. So there's a cop in this book whose name is Crawford. And he shows up. He says he's got a call like the day after the murder happens. And he arrests Michael, which is the main character's brother. Yeah. And he thinks Michael did it. But every time they try to talk to Crawford about how he showed up, what happened, he says he doesn't know who called him and he was just in the area. Yeah. And I'm like, just in the area, my ass. Yeah. Ooh, this guy is sus. And you also thought this guy was pretty sus.
I did because, and you know, it was just, at first I brushed it off. I was like, oh, he's just like a shitty cop that happened to be there. But then as time was passing, I was like, why are there no other cops? Yeah. Because I think he mentioned that he called them in, but because of the storm, they couldn't get there. But I was like, that does not sound right.
Because people are leaving.
People are leaving. And also, there's no way it was that hard. I don't know. There's no way. There was a murder, guys. We need to treat this more seriously. And like, you're telling me there's just one random cop is here. Yeah. And yeah, totally. The when he was saying that they didn't know who called and he was the first one to see the body, and I was like, why would that? Who would have called? Like, why is it you? Like, there's something wrong, something fishy here.
So way later on in the book, we know that Ernest has an older brother, Michael, in the story. He's in the story. We also learn that Ernest had a younger brother, Jeremy, who died when they were children, in a sad accident. But did he? Because then the clues of the story start coming together. And I go, I think Jeremy is alive. And I think he was the person who died. So the story opens and someone dies outside. Yeah. And no one knows who it is. No. Like, we don't know the identity of the victim. They think maybe the serial killer is at the resort and they're the person doing the killings, but no one can figure out who the victim is. And I think, okay, I think the victim is someone important. And I think it must be Jeremy. There's clues that maybe he's still alive, and I think he has to be someone important to the story, so I think he's the victim. And it's also very sad. And also, I had just been watching a playthrough of Ace Attorney 3, if you know, you know. And like literally the same plot point kind of happens in that game. Sorry to people who are reading or playing Ace Attorney 3. Anyway, and then my partner goes, no. Jeremy's alive, and it's Crawford. Because there's lots of clues in the book that Crawford isn't actually a cop. There's lots of lines where because he's incompetent at being a cop, Sophia calls him, like, he might as well be playing dress up as a cop. And my partner goes, that's it.
And also he had like blood on his cuff on his jacket, which wouldn't have come from the body, but he uses an excuse saying it was, but like it wouldn't have been.
Yeah. All this to say, when we were reading the final chapters together and we get to the point where it's revealed that Jeremy was Crawford and is alive, I was losing my mind.
That's crazy. Yeah,
that's a crazy twist.
Yeah.
And I love it a lot. I love the idea that Jeremy is still alive.
Yeah.
I love how crazy Jeremy is. Like, Jeremy kills a lot of people in this book. And what I love about the Cunninghams in general is that despite kind of what Ernest believes or whatever, his family aren't killers. No. A lot of them are just victims of circumstance, which is very sad.
Yeah, most of them were accidental kills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not like all serial killers out to kill people. And Jeremy like wants to be a part of this family, so he's like, maybe I'll kill someone and and then I can be a part of this family. And they're all like, no! That's crazy.
Yeah. I know, the whole review with him being like so like excited, basically.
I felt so bad for him.
Especially because he was taken away by this like basically gang, I guess.
Yeah.
When he was kidnapped when he was really young. And then he didn't know he was adopted. No, he was like living on the streets for a while.
He's living on the streets. He like didn't really remember his childhood. Like, he got kidnapped when he was 5, I think, 5 or 6. So about a year younger than Ernest. And then he goes to he gets a foster family.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know he's adopted until like way later.
Yeah. And then when they find out, I guess the foster family doesn't want to really tell them or tell him.
Yeah.
And so he kills them. And then he just starts doing that.
But what I really love about the Jeremy thing is because the way the book is set up, it makes you reevaluate a lot of the clues that you learned earlier on. So, for example, what we believe to have happened is that the mom left the 3 sons, Michael, Ernest, Jeremy, in a car in Australia, like during a hot day. Jeremy died from heat exhaustion. Yeah. And Ernest and Michael had to go to the hospital. But what actually happened... And
also, Ernest said earlier on that his brother died next to him. Like, he was sitting next to your brother.
My brother died sitting next to me. And you're like, oh my God, like, that's so tragic. That's like such an awful accident. And then you learn Jeremy's actually alive. And he got kidnapped and whatever. At the end of the book, Ernest is the one to kill Jeremy.
Yeah, so Jeremy dies next to him.
So Jeremy dies sitting next to him. And I'm like, oh my God. He never lied. He never lied.
Yeah. There's like, everything just split on. And that moment when he starts revealing all these things, because in classic mystery book fashion, like, he's in that room with all the members and he's like, no one's leaving that room, I know who did it. And he's just like pointing out every single thing and being like, so you did this and this, but you did this because of this. And it's just, you're like, everything starts connecting. And that was a moment that I was like, we had all the information in our hands.
So there's a bit before that where he's like, I figured it out. It just, and this is why I love the writing style.
Yeah.
He's like, I figured it out. And here are some clues that helped me figure it out.
Yeah.
So he lists a bunch of clues. And then me and my partner turn to each other and we're like, okay, based off of these clues, can you figure out what happened?
Gosh,
because we didn't know at this point. We guessed the Jeremy thing, but so many other things lead to that point that we're like, okay, how do these characters connect to this? And we like couldn't figure it out. Basically, the Sophia Catherine plot line, we couldn't figure out. And so then when it was like revealed to us, we're like, oh my God, of course. Like, it all centers around this like MacGuffin where basically everyone, like the gang in the past, the different people in his family or whatever are looking for these photos.
Yeah.
And it's crazy like how many hands these photos pass through. And like the fact that so many people are willing to kill for these photos too. And I just love how like the past timeline, like everything that happened in the past where you think the author's just giving you backstory for the character, like for each family member to give them like a motive to do it. everything that happened in the past is actually important to the case that they're trying to solve in the present.
Yeah, they were never like just throwaway. And even with like, for example, we were just discussing this, like there is the whole thing with Sophia having like a drug addiction, and then that's why like someone died and whatever, and then Catherine, who had a previous addiction before she was helping Sophia, and we're like, okay, so that's just a side thing.
Yeah,
but then that's the whole reason they are at the resort, because Sophia needed to be somewhere so that she could detox.
Yeah,
and there were signs about Sophia not feeling well and all that. There's like that one scene where she throws up, and they were like, he was like, she's not pregnant, by the way. I know, like in every book, if someone throws up, you think they're pregnant, but she was actually throwing up because of the detox, and we didn't even connect things. We were just like, okay, so I guess she's just throwing up. But no, it was important.
Yeah,
but yeah, the whole reason why they were there was because of that situation.
Yeah, and also like the reason they lost the photos in the first place, like the reason like all of this kind of started is because of Sophia needing to get money for her addiction.
Yeah.
And she ends up selling unknowingly the photos to someone else.
Yeah, like that were in the watch.
Yeah. It's I just love how everything came together. It's so satisfying. And I think that's the really important thing in a mystery. Yeah. It's like, is it a because there's not, the thing about mystery is like the whole thing is figuring out what happened. Yeah. It's so hard to write because it better be satisfying. Yeah. Otherwise, there's not like specific scenes we can talk about where we're like, we really enjoyed the characters' motivations in these scenes, because the whole thing is like you're trying to figure out what happened so you can figure out why. Yeah.
And like, okay, my question for you is, because you knew, I mean, you didn't 100% know, but you clearly like got it right.
Yeah.
Like, would you say that like, did you wish that it wasn't that? Did you
No.
wish you were more surprised, or did you enjoy?
I enjoyed it so much.
Like, because it wasn't obvious.
No.
Because that's the thing. If you sometimes you find out, or you like, you know who did it, but that was just because it wasn't well done, and then it's obvious, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh, I already knew this. This is boring. But I think that was just not the case.
And I think also it's not that I guessed the whole thing. I guessed part of the whole thread.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I could have guessed everything that happened that led to like this.
And even to the very end, like there was reviews until the very, very end.
Like I knew that I guessed that Jeremy was Crawford.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Jeremy was also the serial killer that was killing people and was also here.
Yeah. Exactly. Did you guess that you didn't guess that the body was the original cop?
No.
Yeah.
Or actually,
did you?
No, my partner did. My partner guessed that's why.
Yeah.
Because who else would it be?
Right, true, because then they got their clothes.
Yeah, so we guessed that as well.
Sense.
But we didn't guess that they were also the serial killer.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was a whole plot about the black... what's called?
Black tongue.
Tongue, yeah. Oh my gosh. That one got so dark, though. Like, two scenes that really were pretty big, darker scenes were the death of Michael. Well, actually, going back, it was the car scene with Ernest in the car, and Ernest like fucking messing up his hand so badly.
Yeah.
Almost fine. Oh, and he had just found a coffin in the car with the child's body in there too. Car is literally going inside the ice. He gets into the ice, right?
He goes underwater.
Underwater. That scene was so big. And then also later, like literally the next day, or like hours later, they find Michael's body, and then he's like removing. He has this like oven mitt that's like covering his hand because his hand is so messed up, and he like removes the oven mitt because he's trying to save his brother who's already dead. That whole like section was crazy.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
I really didn't think Michael was gonna die.
No.
So when he did, I was so sad because I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Save my man. He did nothing wrong. He did many things wrong.
He did many things wrong, but he like overall was not. Out of that family, like he blended in, you know, like he wasn't like, oh my god, he's the worst of them. No,
he was the one who cared about Ernest the most.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I just love exactly like everything till the end, like whatever he's telling us will come true. So for example, the whole like with Andy, he said, oh, my uncle never killed someone, or like when they were revealing it, there was a big reveal in the room, and Ernest was like, we all have killed someone, and Andy's like, I have not killed anyone.
I haven't.
And then it gets to the end, and like Andy didn't specifically kill one person, but he helped kill.
Yes.
Lead to the death of Jeremy. So he was like, yeah, so he did technically kill someone.
It was so funny. I love that chapter so much because it leaves off in the middle of the sentence, and then you flip the page and it goes like, my uncle Andy kills Jeremy.
Andy killed Jeremy.
It's like a page. And I think that's so funny. Yeah.
Or, for example, with the mom, like, technically we thought she had killed Jeremy in the car. Technically he didn't, but then there's the whole, like, oh, that kind of was a death of Jeremy as he was.
Yeah.
So everything worked. I loved it. I really want to reread it, almost. But I'm going to read the other books first, obviously. But I think it is a book that I would reread and notice. Like, it would be nice to get a highlighter. I think that's what I'm going to do for the next books. I want, like, maybe, like, I'll get the book and I'll highlight things.
Clues,
like everything that I'm suspicious. Because we have a friend in our book club that did that. She was, like, highlighting and writing notes.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be cool. Like, or put, like, little tabs and I'm like, and then I'm, like, flip back to a tab. I'm like, oh, okay, this is connecting. I feel like that'd be fun.
So those were our thoughts on Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. Have you read it? Did you guess who did it? Please let us know. We would love to hear from you. You can leave a comment on Spotify. You can email us at betweenthebookspod@gmail.com. And you can also follow us if you enjoy our content. This is going to be our last podcast episode for 2025. We will see you in the new year when we talk about our favorite books of the year.
Yeah, so happy holidays, and we'll see you then.
Bye.